Hello everybody, it's GirlGotGame, and welcome back to the Crimson Flower That Divides. Today, we're starting a very mysterious route. Mr. Seph, this guy, has only been seen once in the entire game so far, so I had to call in Naran real quick from his point of view episode way back in the beginning, because this is the only time we've ever seen Seph and, actually had him talk. Otherwise, he's an enigma. I guessed that he is actually Orda's son, so we get to his route through Noel's route. So we're gonna have to marry that boy again, fun, and then branch off from there to get to Seph. So we'll see how that goes. I already know what point to get to, but I thought let's start here, kind of get a little bit of background on him from Naran's perspective, and then we'll jump into the route proper. Alright, that's the plan. I think they were talking about Surin here, so...
I don't think people who are seriously injured walk around with angry shoulders like that.
Oh! Lord Seph, you're here too. Lord Seph is supposed to be the eldest son of a great aristocrat, with the second oldest lineage after the royal family, but he doesn't give off that kind of vibe at all.
Okay, so you're the eldest son. Gotcha. Second oldest lineage. Pretty impressive resume.
He always had stubble on his face and seemed to hang out with his friends whenever he had free time. His title is secretary to his father, Minister Orda, but he doesn't seem to be working.
Dang, Naran, you really just, said it way back in the beginning. And I didn't, or I did remember maybe subconsciously, I don't know. Maybe it was a little nugget just planted in there and I'm like, wait. Cool, okay, I'm glad the game just straight up tells you.
He says, I'm the prodigal son until the day I die. He's not very aristocratic, so he hates being treated like one.
Noted.
That's why, even though I do call him Lord, I speak to him casually. Lord Seph, you saw Bro.
Yeah, from a distance though. He seemed to be very angry.
Yeah, he was given an impossible task for this battle. But I think he knew that and agreed before deploying, so... there must have been something else? I hope it's not bad news.
If it's good news, I heard a rumor.
Good news?
Apparently, the commander has taken an interest in a certain woman.
Huh? Really? Bro has? Bro is extremely popular, but he's never taken the initiative to hit on a girl on his own. If Bro has taken an interest, then Lord Seph is right. That is good news.
Well, it's good news for you, isn't it? Since you want him to get married.
Yeah! But why the sudden interest?
I heard that several of Lord Surin's subordinates were sent to the hospital.
Ah, I see. Before he went into battle, he said something like, I want a tough, strong-minded woman. A person who can fight that much, even when surrounded by men, might have a chance. I see. I hope that person would become Bro's wife.
Nope.
It's too soon to tell. No matter how strong-minded she is, it's impossible for her to choose someone as her husband right after she was forcibly brought here.
I know that, but... I chuckle at Ruzi, who still looks as if he's biting a bitter bug, and shift my gaze to the setting sun. When I bathed in the warm light all over my body, a fire of hope lit up in my chest. But you know, if such a strong woman were to become his wife, I'm sure Bro will be reassured. And by extension, she will have the power to change this continent. I genuinely believed that at the time, because I never imagined that kind Bro would do such a thing.
Or that that woman would end up with the guy next to you instead. Alright, Esta, it's not your turn. I know, I'm anxious for you too, but you're gonna have to wait. Alright, I'm going to fast forward a ton through many choices until we get to Minister Orda's gate, and then I shall bring you in for that. Okay, so Naala has gotten married again to our wonderful Noel, and she's on her mission for Orta's support. And we had the choice, not too long ago, to wait here or go through the back gate. And I was torn on it at the time, but it's good I did not go through the back gate, because this is where we branch off to Seph's route, which makes sense since this is probably his home. So, here we go. I don't have the luxury of choosing my methods right now. Whether it's successful or not, I want to do everything I can. Looking at it from a different point of view, getting a better look at the mansion could be useful in the future. All right. Determined, I sneak away from the main gate and turn the corner where the cart disappeared. Sneaky Naala. There it is! As I turned the corner and proceeded down the street, I found the back gate as expected. Ah, there's people standing here too. It's not surprising that there'd be gatekeepers at the back gate too. I was about to be disappointed, but I corrected myself. This might be a good chance to hear something. Even if the odds are low that they'll tell me where the minister is, at least I can confirm whether or not he really is out. I gather strength in the pit of my stomach and step forward, ready to speak. Well, hello. There he is, right off the bat. Nice.
Oh, thanks for your efforts. This is...
A man walking from the other side of the road spoke to the gatekeeper in a relaxed manner. I had the wind taken out of my sails as I missed the opportunity to speak.
Did you go on another one of your playful strolls?
Don't be silly. I was inspecting stuff.
Lord Seph, I haven't heard that you have any plans for work today as well.
You're pretty nosy.
Is it a colleague? The two seemed like good friends. Yeah, because, colleagues just call each other Lord and things. Naala, please. The man lightly poked the gatekeeper in the face with his teasing and laughed.
Anyway, please hurry up and pass through. There's several difficult situations occurring now.
What's the deal trying to rush me?
You're...
The gatekeeper's mood changed completely as he recognized me. He'd definitely become impatient. There's something weird about, how his eyes are covered by his bangs. I'm just like, can you move those out of the way, please? Difficult situation, huh? Looking at his tense expression, I intuitively understood that I was the difficult situation he'd alluded to. Given everything so far, I suppose that's a natural result, but I still didn't find it amusing at all. Apologies for the sudden interruption. You're from this mansion, right?
Huh? Yeah.
Actually, I'd like to have a talk with Minister Orta.
With my father.
Lord Seph!
Hey, what's the deal? Shouting all of a sudden?
Father? I couldn't immediately understand what the man called Seph said, blinking a few times. The son of Minister Orta? Certainly, given Minister Orta's age, it wouldn't be strange to have a son this age. I was a little surprised, as I hadn't considered it at all. I might be able to get through with his son better than the gatekeeper. My name is Naala. I'm the wife of the political assistant Noel. I've come to talk with Minister Orta about a consultation with my husband.
The political assistant?
Poor Seph. Last thing he heard was, some girl caught Soren's eye, and now he's like, who's this chick? She's the wife of the political assistant? What? Yes. If the minister is busy, then perhaps could you talk with me now?
Huh?
When I pressed for an answer, he responded with a clearly flustered voice. He looked around, as if he clearly was restless. In a time like this, I feel like Minister Orta wouldn't move. Even if they might look alike facially, he gives off a completely different vibe from the minister. Yeah.
No, I'm not really...
If that's no good, I'd appreciate it if you could at least tell the minister. As I stepped closer, Seph inquired to the gatekeeper with a troubled face.
Hey, what is my father... Minister Orda saying?
The master is absent.
Huh? Ah. Ah. Right. That is a problem.
In response to the gatekeeper's reply, Seph's gaze flows to the left. Is it his nature that he can't tell a lie? His responding voice felt like a script reading and was obvious. Dang. I was going to say, I'm impressed that he at least tried to go along with it. He's not so dumb, he just has a terrible poker face. In that case, then at least you...
Well, would you look at the time? Sorry, I gotta run.
Wait! I quickly reached out to grab him and came back with nothing but air.
I'm sorry, but I can't allow anyone without an appointment to pass through.
And as the gatekeeper stopped me, Seph disappeared further into the mansion. As I ground my teeth in regret, Seph poked only his head out of the gate and faced me.
Sorry.
You did what, mate? Poke your head out like, I'm sorry. Bye. Come back out here and face me. As soon as he said that, I stared at the closed gate, dumbfounded.
Apologies, but would you please leave?
I'm not giving up. The gatekeeper flinched at the words I spilled out like a curse. I lifted my head, looked dead in his eyes, and made my declaration. I'm coming again tomorrow.
Please leave.
Yeah, I'm going home for today. Sorry for the racket. As a courtesy, I bent my hips once. However, my spirit will not bend. I won't lose here. Right now, not giving up is the only thing I can do. I believe in you, girl. Okay, so... have things taken a major turn, or are we back on, like, the null route? We're back on the null route. Okay, good to know. Okay, so... I'm just searching my memory banks here. I think, if I remember correctly from what I saw, we should start pulling away from null, right? Hold on, I better look this up. I don't want to pull away and then get stuck on one of Null's bad endings again, but I'm pretty sure Null's bad endings branch later in his route, not this early. Actually, while I'm looking at that, let me just fast forward ahead and get to the next choice, because we don't need to be just sitting there like a moo-moo the entire time. Okay, so... yes, okay. It should be fine. I don't need to pick that bottom choice again and get more null points. I should be able to just safely start pulling away from here, go full on Seph. So I'll pick this new option. I just sympathized with him. I might also have been moved by his sincerity. I felt a little guilty somehow and bit my lip. Well, I'd better work hard too. Alright, are we back? Okay, cool. Probably, yeah, let's not ask why he's jealous. Thank goodness Null's bad endings, like, branch off later in his route, so, like, all this early stuff should be fine for us to just not get too much affection with him. Why is he so irked? Since we're going to be spending so much time together, he could soften his attitude up a little. I'm tired of the never-changing Null's thorns. Hi. There come the thorns. Hey! Alright, new stuff. Here we go. As the gatekeeper notices me, he shoots a cool glare my way. Is the minister home?
The minister is out. I don't know when he will return.
His matter-of-fact way of saying it, with no hint of emotion, almost makes my shoulders slump. Seems like the minister will continue to pretend to be out today. As if that will discourage me. The minister is waiting for me to give up. I'm sure it'd please him to know that I was easily offended. I looked down once with my angry eyes to change my mind and took a deep breath. This is no time to be discouraged. All I can do now is not give up. I strongly reminded myself and smiled at the gatekeeper with a fresh face. In that case, I shall wait for him. I can't really afford to be worried about the stunned gatekeeper's look. Sorry, but I've got no choice but to stick around. There will come a time when the minister, with his duties and all, will have to go outside. At that time, I'll catch him and offer him a consultation with Noel. It was a simple, perhaps even ridiculous strategy, but I had a hunch about it. I felt like he'd listen given the right opportunity. Minister Orda didn't seem to be personally antagonistic towards Toya, true. If he can be convinced that there's an advantage in doing so, he may come around and support us. If that happens, we'll be one step closer to a future where everyone is free. I envision a hopeful future behind my eyelids and put my energy into every breath I exhale. With opened eyes, I look up at the window, which I assume belongs to the minister, and declared war. Let's see who will be the first to wave the white flag. I straighten my back and align my knees. I focus my gaze so that I wouldn't miss even a single stray cat. Alright, girl. She's a toughie. Ugh. Alright, get away from the hickeys. Let's go. We got the dueling hickeys again. I forgot that's what was happening. I wonder if Naala will cut her hair in this one too, or if that's a Noel only thing. Guess we'll see. Today was a bust too. My knees, having constantly been bent and had pressure put on them, are screaming at me. It was already evening, and so far no one had visited the mansion today, and there were few passers-by. Ow. I endure the numbness in my legs and wobble my way to the main gate. The minister hasn't returned yet?
I wouldn't know.
Even by nightfall, there were no signs of the minister. If I continue to wait and let things get completely dark, well, it's not exactly safe for a woman to travel home all by herself. Interesting. I wonder if this is when we normally would have been saved by Noel, but she's leaving a little early today. That'd be interesting. Sadly, I guess I'd better call it a day here. I'll be taking my leave for today, then.
I shall inform the master of your visit upon his return.
I wonder what the gatekeeper will tell him about my condition. Preparing myself that it wouldn't be anything good, I sighed and turned around. Good morning.
Good morning.
My good friend, the gatekeeper, greeted me with an indescribable look on his face. This is for you.
Hmm?
I gave him the package of baked sweets I'd bought along the way at the market. The gatekeeper's mouth opened as if taken by surprise.
This is...
a gift.
I cannot give this to the master.
No, this is for you two.
I can't receive such things during my shift.
Please eat it after your shift ends. I'm not trying to buy a favor with this.
I'm currently working.
Then I'll give it to you when you get off. And this.
Yes.
May I wait here? I pointed to a position in front of the gate that was out of the way of foot traffic. It's more or less the place I'm always standing.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much. I smile and bow at his reluctant reply. Well then, excuse me. I lower my head and move to the place I specified. I then got on my knees, facing the mansion. I sat on the cobblestones with my knees bent properly. The gatekeeper stared at me as if he'd swallowed a large bean, but I took a breath regardless. I raised my chin and looked up at the room where I'd seen the minister's face peering out once. I'll be waiting here, no matter how long it takes! The gatekeeper panicked at my loud voice. He looked like he wanted to stop me, but was confused over whether or not he should touch the political assistant's wife. Possibility alone is meaningless. If it can't be realized, it's no different from a dream. I feel ashamed to raise my voice like this on the main street. I'm also aware that I'm being annoying. But for now, this is all I can do. But I don't want the dream to end! I know I'm being a bother, but I can't give up! Of course, there is no reply. The gatekeeper, perhaps at wit's end, drooped his shoulders. I don't care how it makes me look, and even if I may come off as disgraceful, I want to show that I'm at least this serious about it. If there's a way for me to chase after him before my eyes, I can't give up. I straightened my spine and glared at the window's cloth as if I could see through it. Alright. And then this is probably the same as before, yeah? Okay. So, she's winning over some friends. Great. Early in the morning, there were few people passing in and out of traffic. Still, the gatekeeper stood in front of the minister's house with a stern look on his face as usual. Good morning.
Good morning.
The gatekeeper seemed surprised by my earlier-than-expected arrival. His eyelids, which had been almost closed, were fluttering as if his sleepiness had been blown away. My apologies for visiting so early.
The master is currently at the castle.
What? This early?
Yes, there was an urgent matter.
Maybe he predicted that I'd come early and left ahead of me. I felt like biting my teeth at the minister's stubborn refusal to meet with me, even though I knew he had his own reasons for not doing so. Understood. Okay, fine, I shall wait here for his return. I'm sorry I missed him. However, if he's out, then this is a good opportunity. I sit down in my usual position, hoping to catch him when he returns. If he's in the assembly, it may take a while. Contrary to expectations, the minister did not show up in the evening. I wonder if he knew I was waiting here and decided to stay somewhere else. But it sounds like he was doing work at home, so it's hard to think that he wouldn't come back here. My continued failures made me restless. Biting my lip, I was thinking about what to do in my future strategy when a place suddenly came to mind. Come to think of it...
Ma'am?
Thank you for today as well. I bowed my head to the gatekeeper at the main gate, who shuddered, and ran toward the back of the mansion. Okay. Of course. I bite my lip as I look at the official-looking guys coming out of the back gate. Since I'd been standing watch over the main gate, the mansion residents, minister included, had been using the back gate. No matter how much I waited at the main gate, I'd never run into him. He got me. On the other hand, had I waited every day at the back gate, not only would I be accused of a lack of manners, but it would also give him a reason to refuse. Then what should I... The gatekeeper, who was under strict orders from the minister, would never intercede. Then is there anyone else who is close to the minister and can intercede? For example, not a servant, but a family member. The minister's family. Speaking of, I remember someone I met at the back gate a few days ago. That man who was quite casual for his age. Oh yeah, he was the minister's son. Excuse me.
You!
As I walked with determination, the gatekeeper turned his head towards me as his shoulders jumped slightly. I giggled at his visible alarm and spoke my usual line. Has the minister returned home?
No, I don't know when he'll be back.
In that case, is his son home?
Lord Seph. He is also out.
The gatekeeper looked surprised for a moment, as if he was surprised to be asked about the whereabouts of his son instead of the minister. His voice sounded calmer than before, or perhaps more genuine. Yeah, they do not look down on you, from what we saw in Orda's point of view. Ooh! Our first up! I mean, Seph is very popular with them too, it seems. I wonder if the servants like me. Do you know when Lord Seph will return?
I can't say anything about that.
He tilts his head, sounding troubled, unlike the formal reply he got when he asked where the minister was. Why is that?
He always comes and goes so suddenly. Sometimes he comes back rather quickly, other times he's gone for days. It's hard to get a read on his plans.
The gatekeeper's expressions and the way he spoke indicated that he was telling the truth. Seph is probably the man he seems to be. Although he is the son of a powerful minister who supports the country, he seems to lead an aimless life. He is who he appears to be. The other day, he left like he was running away from me. But I don't think he's a bad person. If he was such a bad person that someone would hate him, the gatekeeper would have explained things differently. He's at least personable enough to not be hated by the gatekeepers. He might support my attempts to convince the minister. However, I noticed the sun already starting to set in the west. The time for waiting had already passed. I guess that's it for today. I looked up at the setting sun with a new goal in mind. I felt a little glimmer of hope in these dull days. A small glimmer is sometimes all you need. Okay, this is still new. Grand. The following day, I took up a position that just barely allowed me to keep an eye on the road to the back gate. This way, there's nothing to complain about, and I can still notice if someone tries to go to the back gate. It's a bit sneaky, but this is the only option I've got left. As I was thinking of excuses, I was suddenly struck by a dizziness. Maybe I'm exhausted. As I held my head and waited to calm down, a voice called out from the main gate.
Hey, are you okay?
Yeah, thank you very much.
There's nothing you need to be thanking me for.
I'm just happy that you're concerned about me. A little dizziness is nothing. I clench my fists and reassert myself. I wonder when Seph will be returning. It seems that there isn't a fixed time when he comes back, so it's a gamble whether I can see him or not. But I like my chances better than with someone who pretends to be away all day. But Seph hadn't returned even by high noon. He wouldn't come to the main gate, though. It seems like he likes to go in the back. It might still be too early. I wonder if it's because I'm not feeling well. Time seems to be moving slower than usual. I've only just begun waiting. I slapped my own cheeks with both hands to expel any weak thoughts. Yes? The gatekeeper, who seemed to have been watching my behavior, looked at me restlessly. Eventually, he opened his mouth in a puzzled manner.
Would you like to sit on the stone steps there?
Huh?
I can't let you in, but, well, just turning a blind eye to a woman in bad health is, you know.
I'm fine. Thank you very much. As we see each other every day, perhaps our feelings for each other are gradually shifting. I chuckled when I saw the good-natured gatekeeper scratch his head in annoyance. This may be the enemy country, and the gatekeeper may be a man from the enemy country, but I felt the kindness he showed me was the same as my own country. Maybe it's more like, people are people, no matter where you are. Even drawing a line between friend and foe, everyone is simply living their lives for the sake of what they want to protect. Wow, I must be more exhausted than I thought. If I said that to Shalu, she'd definitely get pissed. Oh yeah. I laugh with my nose and secretly shrug. How long have I been waiting? There was no one around, including the minister's son, as time slowly passed by. Our previous meeting was perhaps by chance. No, that's not good. I wonder if I'm still tired. As I sit and wait, drowsiness attacks me over and over again. If I could at least move around. For a moment, I think about bringing a wooden sword for training the next time I come back. Then I immediately chuckled at the ridiculousness of the idea. If I had a wooden sword, would I look like I was going to force my way in? I imagine myself breaking into the minister's house, wooden sword in hand, with the gatekeeper desperately trying to stop me. But it would be exhilarating to do that. It was a hilarious fantasy, one that could never ever be reality. When my thoughts return to reality, I'm a little depressed by the discrepancy from my imagination. Unlike my fun fantasy, all I can really do is stand here like a stone statue and watch. I wonder if this way of life looks funny to others. As I exhaled a breath of exhaustion, my consciousness was dragged into the darkness, contrary to my mind. Why am I so sleepy? I desperately tried to stay awake while nodding off several times, but my resistance was futile, and eventually my eyelids dropped.
Hey! Hey!
Someone calling out to me awakened me from the depths of my sleep. His voice, which sounded both dismayed and concerned, was somehow familiar.
How long were you planning to be out here? It's almost sunset.
Oh, just the person I wanted to see. What?
You're finally up.
Surprised, I looked around and saw that the area was already dyed red. Moreover, standing in front of me was the very person I was looking for. Sorry! I fell asleep.
If you're gonna apologize, apologize to that guy. He couldn't help because of my father's orders, so he's been standing there looking all pathetic.
Oh! When I looked in the direction indicated by his eyes, the gatekeeper, who had been peering at me, straightened his posture with a shocked look on his face. How dare you call me out? Apparently he was worried about me while I slept here. But he was stuck, as he couldn't do anything due to the minister's orders. I turned my body towards the gatekeeper, lowered my head, and spoke. Yes, the worry. Not so much the trouble, but the worry. Nice. I'm sorry to have caused you to worry about me. I raised my voice a little so that the gatekeeper in the distance can hear me. The gatekeeper puts down his face awkwardly and responds in a small voice.
Yeah. Seriously, sleeping in the streets like this, what a carefree lady you are. Anyone could have come and attacked you. If he hadn't called for me, right now you could be the main course for some hungry bastard.
He called him for me. Perhaps it was an act of frustration at not being able to help, but it brought a ray of light to me. When I looked at him with gratitude, the gatekeeper turned away and coughed in embarrassment. Shout out that gatekeeper. Lord Seph, right? The minister's son.
Yeah, well, the good-for-nothing son who could be disowned at any moment. But yeah, I'm his son. And by the way, could you drop the Lord and whatever other titles and whatnot? I'm not that kind of guy. Don't even look the part, right? And it's not like you're a servant. You're the political assistant's wife.
Yeah, but...
I hate stiff formalities.
Although he must be of a high position, the way he spoke and the atmosphere he created were very similar to that of a commoner. Unable to gauge the distance, I began to speak cautiously. There's something I'd like to ask your help for.
You said that before.
Seph scratched the back of his head, frowned, and looked away. His internal thoughts, "What a pain," was evident on his face. There's something I absolutely have to talk to the minister about. Please. Could you convey a message at least?
Talk with Pops, huh?
Yes. It's very important.
I'm sure you already figured this out, but the old man's pretty stubborn.
I was interrupted by the blunt way he cut me off. I pushed out my voice, which was about to choke. Perhaps, and that's why I'm asking you. If it were a request from you, his son, then he surely...
Would not meet you guaranteed.
What? Seph shrugged his shoulders. His ambiguous expression seemed both troubled and resigned.
The old man doesn't listen to a word I say. You'd have an easier time walking to the moon.
That doesn't matter. If you could at least just give him the message.
You know, you...
Please. Please, there's no one else I can ask.
Of all people, why are you asking me? I'm probably the least reliable guy you could ever meet.
Please!
Well, you know, it's gotten pretty late, so why don't you call it a day here?
Seph waved his hand ploddingly, as if it were some kind of hassle. I bowed deeply, but it was clear that he wasn't going to budge from his position, that I should go home now. Yeah, he disappears, though. He disappears. Yep. Keep working on him. I think he's a softie. I think you just gotta, like, press a little harder. Maybe, but this might be my only shot. Please! Please!
Well, I do hate saying no to people.
Knew it.
And I'm not particularly fond of hurting cute girls like yourself.
Seph's expression clearly states his internal feelings of being conflicted, but it didn't have a whole lot of rejection to it. Maybe he really doesn't like saying no to people. Or more than that, maybe he just doesn't like making waves with other people. That's fair. In that case, I should get to know him better. Or putting it another way, utilize his weakness. Well, that's very Knoll-like of you. It is a bit awkward to take advantage of him like this, but you can't make an omelet without breaking some eggs. Ruthless! Naala, girl, you ruthless! I inhaled lightly to make my next move, then spoke. May I see you again tomorrow?
I don't really know my pop's schedule.
No, I mean you.
Huh? Me?
Yes.
You know nothing will change by talking to me, right? Unlike the old man, I'm not really involved in politics.
Yes, but you do talk to the minister, right?
Planning on using me?
I would like to have your cooperation. If you say that it's using you, well, I won't deny that. I have to meet with the minister, no matter what.
Wow, that's bold. I'm not such a cool guy like that.
Seph muttered softly and looked away with a self-mocking smile on his face. I took an impatient step toward him, and his eyes narrowed sadly as he turned back to me.
You shouldn't pin your hopes on that lame old man. You should give up.
I will not.
Well, anyway, you should go home today.
Then I shall see you tomorrow.
Yeah, I know.
Seph covered his face with one hand and nodded as if to say that he'd lost the battle of attrition.
Anyway, see you tomorrow.
Before I could say anything, he turned his back and walked away. He looked very tired as he walked with his shoulders slumped.
Lord Seph, you're not supposed to make any appointment.
Be quiet. This is all your fault.
I want to hear it out of you.
Seph disappeared into the mansion after a brief exchange with the gatekeeper. I was able to meet with Seph today, and I got an appointment for tomorrow. This alone is a huge step forward. I will never give up. After straightening my back, I bowed deeply to the gatekeeper. The return trip home this day felt a little shorter.